Well, first of all, thank you guys for being here. As this crew already knows, today we're celebrating the day where Overflow Church turns 6 years old. And because we got a lot of people in here that don't know the story, I wanted to take a moment today and just kind of tell the story of how Overflow became Overflow. And that all kind of starts with this thing called the Jesus movement. So Lauren, would you take a moment and tell us about that for a second?
Sure. So actually, with Maria and Ernesto, except for these two, all of us up here, we were in a Sunday school class together at a local church. And one night, Maria and I were hanging out, and we were talking about our college days and these huge, impactful college ministries that we were a part of at the colleges we went to outside of Bethel and McKenzie. And I remember looking at Maria. I'm pretty sure we were in the car, and it was dark outside, and I was like, Maria, I really think that we should do this in McKenzie for Bethel students. We had several Bethel students in our church. We knew about the campus ministries that were there that were really strong, and we thought, let's make another one. Let's make it cross-denominational. And our first meeting was in DFAB on Bethel's campus. We got some college students together and started planning these big events. And soon after, we had a building downtown. We think we started out with hammers and such, blasting the walls off in order to have a space to meet. And about a year and a half later is when the idea for the church began.
And now we know one of the marking factors of Jesus movement was the dynamic praise and worship. And here's the guy right here. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that struck me most, I think, at that time was it was the first time that I had ever been in a worship setting that was multi-denominational. And it was the first time that I felt like nobody cared what the person beside them, whatever small differences of beliefs that they had, nobody cared about that stuff, and everybody was just going after God. And it was the first time I'd ever really seen that. And it was so inspirational that it made me want to keep doing that. So.
And keep doing it, you did, until it turned into a church. Josh, talk to us about the initial idea for Overflow Church.
So we were already doing the Jesus movement, and I was seeing some things in my personal life that God was really showing me. And also, the Jesus movement was actually attracting a lot more people than just college students. And there's a lot of people that were showing up to this thing, and we knew what the next step was. God made it pretty clear.
What was everybody's initial reaction to the idea of starting a church not in Memphis or Jackson, but in McKenzie?
I'd say pretty mixed.
Starting on this side, Dustin, what was your idea?
I thought he was being very zealous. And I thought, that's really neat, Josh. Let me know when that wears off. That's kind of how I felt about it.
Mine was just, that's interesting. Let's see what happens here. Mine was, no. Oh, boy.
All in.
Let's go.
I thought we were crazy.
Finally. Yes.
How do we start this? I have no clue what to do. That was my first thought.
Dude, so that's the initial reaction. How do we move forward from there?
I think God spoke to everybody. I believe that. I mean, everybody came a couple months down the road, and it was a completely different reaction. So that's what was so cool. It wasn't me. It was God just speaking to people. That's really
incredible.
Awesome.
Now, legend has it, the first Sunday that Overflow Church existed happened in the Page's house. So would you guys take a minute and just kind of share about that?
Yeah, it was such an honor to host the first worship experience for Overflow. Guest experience happened down the yard, people driving by wondering what's going on in our house. It was just such an honor to do that. We found out what the capacity of our living room was, 55 people. Just stuff like that.
That's awesome.
And Lauren mentioned it a second ago, but there are two people that aren't here today that were big-time factors in Overflow, and that'd be Ernesto and Maria Escamilla. And instead of leaving them out, we actually asked them to join us here today. So Ernesto, Maria, talk to us about what you guys did from there, how you grew Overflow Church.
Yeah, so how we feel the church grew was by having interest meetings, and we had lots of outreach. But what I believe was the biggest part of our growth was our worship team.
Man, I remember we started as an acoustic worship team. Remember that, babe? And I say this because even though we didn't have all the bells and whistles that we have now, we had this one thing then, and we still have it today, which is passion. Passion for our city, passion for the church, and passion to see people grow through Christ.
So we started growing so fast. We only wound up meeting in the Page's house and the Escamillo's house for like 6 weeks.
Wow.
So we were like, we've got to find a bigger place. Like the seams were busted. I mean, like nobody else could fit in the houses. So we already had a building from the Jesus movement. And so we decided to go to 9 Broadway.
Yeah.
So we went there, and one experience led to 2 experiences, led to 3 experiences. So we wound up having 2 on Sunday and then 1 actually on Saturday night. So we went to 3 experiences actually really quick. And then actually we had 5 experiences on an Easter Sunday. So it blew our minds how quickly God was just growing Overflow Church.
And we were all having babies. Everybody was having babies.
Yeah. That's how they grew the church.
And we didn't have anywhere in that building to put kids, so we actually rented the building a couple doors down, and every Sunday, do y'all remember?
Yes.
Everybody has trauma from this. Carrying all of the kids' toys 3 stories up and down and across the street, and setting up every week to give our kids the best experience we could. And they have some good memories from that building, and it's crazy. We were busting at the seams. We couldn't handle it anymore. So cool.
Right.
And not only that, like we were seeing people grow and change, like spiritually and emotionally, and things were starting to happen. People wanted to get baptized. They needed to be talking to people during the week, and like there was just so many things happening. Like people's marriages were going through things, and like just personal growth, and all of these things happening, and we needed more people on staff. And thankfully, I got to be that person outside of our pastor at the time.
Yeah.
I was in a position to where I could quit my job that I was working, and I badly wanted to be the other staff person here.
Sure.
And I got that opportunity, and I was just able to start doing all of the things that needed to be done during the week.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and from there, the rest is history. There were a lot of difficult moments, a lot of great moments, but a lot of transition at Overflow. And while that may have been tough for some of you, Sam and I are forever grateful for that transition, because that opened up the door for us to get to step into Overflow Church. And I know that was such a special season for us, and especially you. Maybe talk to us about your first time going to Overflow.
Yeah, so I absolutely love 9 Broadway. That was our first time at Overflow. And a beautiful girl named India greeted us on the way in, gave us a card to fill out. Absolutely had no idea who we were, and just loved on us like she had known us forever. And as soon as we walked in the door, that's how every other person was in there. They were just so raw and real and friendly, and just valued me, even though they had never met me before. Yeah. So I cherish that in my heart, because everyone here is still like that, and it absolutely blows my mind. But we love being here, and I remember that day I just got in the car and bawled my eyes out, and I was like, I love Overflow, I want to be here forever. So here we are, hopefully here forever.
Yes. Yeah, and we are here. Man, what a crazy ride it's been the last few years. From me becoming a pastor at 25 and being probably a really terrible preacher, just to be honest, to the Rule King campaign that blew all of our minds, got us in the new building, and then only 3 months after that, having to weather the storm that was and still is COVID. It's been amazing, and I want to say thank you to all of you that are here today. And I also want to challenge you, because the story of Overflow Church, it's not just our story, it's your story too. If you're sitting in this room, if you're watching this video, it means that you're a part of this story. You're a part of what God is doing in this community, in your hometown, many of you. And whatever it takes for you to continue being a part of that story, do it. Say yes to God. We're going to say yes to God all together. There's so much more that we could talk about, but I'm really ready to preach today, so let's get to it.